Welcome to lesson 1.2. Today we're going to be learning about how to rearrange literal equations. So sometimes you will use this skill a lot in Mr. Martinez's class in science. You're going to have to rearrange some equations, and then even in Algebra 1 we're going to do some of that later when we get to Unit 2. So this is an important skill to have. It kind of helps your problem solving skills and all of that. So your foldable will look a little different than my screen, but we're just going in order of the foldable. So 1, 2, 3. So you're just going to flip it up each time. So this is the first page. Okay. So we have P equals 2 times L plus W. So now we're solving for W. Okay, so we have to get, so P right now is by itself, but we want to get W by itself. So that means we're going to have to rearrange this equation. Okay, so first things first, 2 is being multiplied here, so we want to get rid of that first. Okay, so since we're multiplying by 2, we have to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. Now, we can't actually physically divide P divided by 2 because P is just a variable. So we're going to leave it like that. So P divided by 2 equals L plus, let me make it a cursive L, L plus W. Okay. So again, remember, our goal is to get W by itself. So we're adding L to W, so instead we're going to subtract L on both sides. Okay, again, we cannot combine these terms. They're not alike terms, so we just have to leave it how it is. So I have P divided by 2 minus L is equal to the width. So I have now solved for W. So W is the perimeter divided by 2 minus the length. Okay, so that's us rearranging the equation. Now that one's kind of a more complicated one than the ones we're going to be working with for this first section. So we're going to go down to this first one. So S equals A plus B, and we want to solve for A. So A has plus B with it. So we have to do the opposite to get rid of it. So we're going to subtract B on both sides. Now, S and B cannot be combined. So S minus B is equal to A. Ta-da, we solved for A. The whole goal when rearranging is you're just getting the variable they want by itself. Okay, so area equals length times width. Well, length and width are being multiplied, so we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by the length. So W is equal to the area divided by the length. That's just the formula for area of a rectangle. You do this a lot in your head, you just don't realize it. Like if they asked you, okay, the area of this rectangle is 12 and the length is 6, what's the width? You know to divide 12 divided by 6, and the width would be 2. So now you're just literally doing it with the variables instead of numbers. Okay, so D equals M divided by V. So now I'm going to rewrite this one so we can do it. So D equals M over V, and I want M by itself, so I have to do the inverse operation. So since I'm dividing by V, I'm going to multiply by V on both sides. Those V's are going to cancel out. That's the whole point. So M is equal to D times V. Or if you don't like you don't have to write the multiplication part, you can just put dV because multiplication is implied. Okay, so that's just a one-step rearranging equation. So now let's go to the second one, the two-step. Okay, so again, you have to move things. Think about it like how we solve an equation. We move the addition and subtraction first, then we do the multiplication or division at the end. So that's kind of the idea you want to take. So it's kind of the same for solving equations as you were when you had numbers in the equations. Now it's just with variables. So I have 5b plus 12c equals 9. So I want to solve for b. So here's b. Okay, the 5 is the closest thing attached to the b. So that's the last thing we're going to move. Okay, so first thing we're going to move is this 12c. Since we're adding it, we're going to subtract 12c on both sides. Okay, so then I have 5b is equal to 9 minus 12c, because you can't combine 9 and 12c, so you're just going to rewrite it. Okay, then now that I have the b by itself except with the 5, I'm going to divide by 5 to get rid of that. So then I'm left with b equals 9 minus 12c over 5. Ta-da! We rearranged for b. Okay, so now the second one, x minus c divided by z equals y. So the first thing I want to get rid of is this divide by z. Okay, and to do that, I have to multiply both sides by z, right? That's going to change the problem, or get rid of that. So then I have x minus c is equal to yz, because that's multiplication. So now I need to get c by itself. So I need to get rid of this x, so I'm going to minus x on both sides. Remember, I can only combine like terms, so negative c equals yz minus x. Now, they want us to solve for positive c, not negative c. So I'm going to have to divide both sides by negative 1. So then I get c equals negative yz plus x, okay? Because when you divide by a negative 1, it's just changing the sign of each piece. So yz was positive, now it's negative. X was negative, or there was a subtraction sign in front of it, so now it's become addition. Okay, so now let's go to the next piece. Okay, so I have two equations. So the volume of a cone is 1/3 the product of the area of the base, B, and H. So we're going to write that first. So the volume V equals 1/3 the product, remember product means multiplication, of the area of the base and the height. So they're the product. Okay, so now they're wanting us to solve for H. Okay, now if you want to move multiple things at the same time, you can, as long as you're comfortable with it. If you're not, don't do that. But we can. So to get rid of the 1/3, I have to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. So then I have 3v is equal to base times the height. Okay, if you need to check that, look, 1/3 times 3 is 3/3, which is 1. So that part will go away, okay, because 1 times anything is itself. Okay, so then I want to get h by itself, so the last thing I need to get rid of is the b, so I'm going to divide by b. So h is equal to 3 times the volume divided by the base. Okay, and so the next one, the area of the trapezoid is 1/2 times the height multiplied by the sum of the bases b1 and b2. Okay, so the area, so A, is equal to 1/2 times the height multiplied by the sum, so b1 plus b2. And some of these formulas you guys have seen before in elementary school or in other classes, maybe some science classes with shapes and things, but now we're just kind of learning how to rearrange. So we want to solve for b1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get rid of that 1/2. And so the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Okay, so 2a is equal to h times b1 plus b2. Okay, Now we need to get rid of that h because it's being multiplied, and so to get rid of multiplication, we divide by h. So 2a over h is equal to b1 plus b2. So then the last thing we want to do is subtract b2 on both sides. So then b1 is equal to 2a over h minus b2. So the first base is equal to 2 times the area divided by the height minus base 2. Okay, so that's it for lesson 1.2. Bye.